Rafael Nadal revealed something. Suggestion. And when Aya, when she learned what was inside, she passed out. Becoming unmanageable, destructive, lovely tears. Not the kind that after losing. Not the kind that comes after fatigue. The kind that only show up when something so significant, so unexpected, very giving, slams unexpectedly into your chest. A rising warrior, a retiring great. A personal gesture so potent that it hushed a whole sport. No one outside of those closed walls were expected to be aware. No press releases, cameras, and meticulous customized announcements created by publicists looking for news stories. Only one champion silently passing another champion the kingdom's keys that she had bled 8 torturous years to earn it. However, we are here because of tales. This remarkable refusal to remain interred. By the last sentence of this voyage, all of your uncertainties, if greatness is aware of greatness, will totally disintegrate. What Nadal built in complete secrecy for Aya is the act that most emotionally shocks people. The guidance that professional tennis has seen for decades. Take a seat. This will destroy you in the best way imaginable. Manner. At the Rafa Nadal, she appeared. Moner Mallorca Academy, barely 12, she was dwarfed by the racket she carried. Small frame and a conviction that everyone was instantly uneasy. Sadly, I underestimated her. Eala had given herself up. Everything was familiar. Quezon City neighborhood, her friends from childhood, the warm turmoil of Manila that she had inhaled because of birth, and moved thousands of kilometers away to a Spanish sun-drenched island where the bare minimum was greatness acceptable benchmark, not the upper limit. Most teenagers break under that specific weight. The solitude sculpts with assurance, like a razor through silk. The paralysis of homesickness, even physically talented athletes in a few of weeks of arrival. Experienced academy employees had saw bright juniors retreating, lessen, disappear, and return to a comfortable normalcy instead of enduring the manicure necessitates a psychological trial. From each pupil who passes through its gates. Aya declined such departure. Entirely. She took in technical corrections that aren't defensive. She showed up for practice sessions earlier. The facility doors were unlocked by the instructors. She examined video of her own motion. Trends at the designated hours for socialization, recognizing mechanical coaches are unaware of inefficiencies that had spent decades training top athletes. Former academy staff members, speaking openly to Philippine journalists for years thereafter, recounted seeing there was something very unnerving about her. Discipline, like focus maturity, it was so carefully nurtured that it almost on the paranormal for someone who young in terms of time. A former training buddy disclosed a certain memory that stayed with her forever. Observing Eala uses her forehand technique. Order. 300 repeats in a row without hesitation, without grumbling, without looking to one person for approval. Close by observer. 300 without prompting, self-directed, as she was the only one with chose to keep the mechanisms in place. Perfect and somewhat flawed was the only place that was appropriate. Rafael Nadal took up all of this information from a certain distance. His schedule prevented him from attending manicure throughout extended periods of Aya's years of groundwork. However, when he came back, as he strolled those familiar crimson courts and saw his academy's the next generation's performance under pressure, many sources continuously verify his responses to Aya had a distinct attribute from those aimed at peers with comparable skill. Something about her competitive demeanor reminded him of discussions he had personally felt within of himself during his own intense developing years. That same burning within, that the same unwillingness to engage in negotiations with restriction. He started asking for certain information about her development from coaching personnel. Not widely, particularly her performance in the event, her measures for physical fitness, her mental reactions amid elevated competitive pressure situations. Silently, systematically, covertly, Nadal began building a mental an illustration of Aya's true self was evolving. And the thing that scared him in the most thrilling feeling in the world was aware that she may be turning into something he himself had never completely before experienced. Because this is what nobody expected it. The instant Nadal retired from competing professionally, his first noteworthy private, a sealed envelope was engaged in the activity, a particular name inscribed across its surface, and a suggestion so bold that made his closest advisors really wonder whether he had given it enough thought. The consequences. Aya was that name. And what was included inside the envelope would explode all over the tennis court. Universe unlike anything that came before it. Rafael Nadal stepped aside in November 2024 from playing professional tennis after the triumph of Spain in the Davis Cup finals in Malaga. Emotional, worn out, finished. 22 Grand Slam titles, 14 crowns from Roland Garros. A profession so astronomically significant, it produced statistical comparisons are almost pointless. He had succeeded in everything that is possible inside sport that is competitive. Most people retire athletes cause a prolonged period of family, vacations, and peaceful relaxation absorption, a slow psychological relaxing after decades of incessant pressure from competitors. People who are closest to Nadal foresaw this trend precisely. A gradual retreat, a tranquil shift to a private life on Mallorca, his spouse Mary, and their small kid. Rather, within 60 days of his last encounter in competition, Nadal called a private meeting at his headquarters of the foundation. No media, no photographers, without any outside representatives, only a little disc of directors of the school, trustworthy advisors, and legal advice. The agenda included just one thing: Alexandra Eala. People with knowledge about the meeting characterize a concentrated environment. Intensity is seldom linked to preparing for retirement. Nadal showed up, having already built a thorough documentation. He had been there for weeks, discreetly speaking with sports economists, marketing experts, athletic scholarship designers, as well as past gamers who had successfully negotiated a complex financial environment is in store. Top-tier female tennis players. He came not with a hazy attitude but with detail that can be executed. The plan included many exceptional elements. Initially, a completely financed technical collaboration that lasted for many years. AY being given exclusive access to Nadal's full coaching infrastructure, included staff members who had directed his own championship campaigns. Not borrowed access rather than sporadic consultation, ongoing, committed support system, everything surrounding her growth schedule and goals for the competition. A financial base comes in second. Nadal, using his personal benevolent organization as opposed to any corporate middleman, created a scholarship system intended to remove any financial barriers between Aya's potential and her full potential. Travel gear for the event, medical assistants, dietitians, and athlete psychologists, each one's own resources career had required, now rebuilt especially for her advantage. Third, and this specific component is said to hushed all of the advisors in attendance. Nadal suggested officially recognizing Aya as the spiritual heir, preserving the principles that his whole career represented were not contractually and figuratively in public forever. He was going to stand next to reveal his intentions at an official statement. Personal belief in her victory potential and affix his legacy. 22 years of professional experience in everything sacrifice had built her future trajectory. When his legal team said that this kind of gesture was unheard of, that no retiring champion of his size had ever been codified, such a successor's support for Nadal is allegedly an active player. Reacted in a distinctive manner, directness. In unprecedented circumstances, he remarked in a low voice, deserve an unparalleled answers. There was no argument in the room. However, this is the terrible twist that no one saw coming. As soon as when the package eventually arrived, Aya was all by myself. No teammates in the area, there are no coaches around, only her, a silent space, as well as a paper that would irreversibly break the constructed. She had spent 8 hours outside being reprimanded. Years building. What followed broke the internet in a matter of hours. Remain at this exact location. Confidentiality, regardless of how really well designed, has an intrinsic brittleness, especially when the two most important players in the secret are widely adored personalities from two continents at the same time. The first leak appeared not from Nadal's close associates, who upheld extraordinary judgment throughout the previous weeks, but from a peripheral administrative liaison inside the Olympic Committee of the Philippines, who got a casual notice about an impending announcement that will impact Filipino participation in sports globally. That person seems to be overwhelmed by the size of what they possess, discovered, shared bits and pieces with one reliable source for sports media in Manila. In a span of 72 hours, Philippine social platforms exploded. The details remained unfinished at that point. The whole records were not in anyone's possession. No one could verify exact financial numbers or specifics of the deal. However, the basic summary of Rafael Nadal's retirement tears were shed for Aya's personal proposal throughout Filipino online communities with a speed that really shocked journalists covering international sports observing local feeds. Using hashtags merging the two names at the same time trended on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok in Spain, the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia prior to well-known Western sports publications having even designated reporters to look into the matter. Tennis communities in Southeast Asia, long used to seeing their athletes celebrated everywhere but at home, exploded with a sense of group pride, such overloading it, causing it to momentarily crash. Numerous regional news websites are trying to release early coverage. Spanish the media responded in a distinctive way. Intensity. Publications that had addressed each important phase of Nadal's the professional world rushed to confirm information. Contacting sources inside the academy that provided confirmation important had occurred without approving a certain disclosure. The intentional ambiguity only made exponential growth in global curiosity. In the world of professional tennis, the responses were strongly split between those who praised the acts of kindness and others who questioned its consequences on the dynamics of competition. A number of unnamed WTA officials said unease with the notion of a retired man champion openly naming any female athlete who was selected as his replacement, expressing worries about independence, regarding ownership of the story, over whether Eala deserved to earn her title. Identity on their own, as opposed to underneath the monumental shadow. Those criticisms, however, cognitively sound on its own, mostly submerged under the intense surge of emotions flowing through Filipinos communities across the globe. For a country that has been waiting for centuries to create a real Grand Slam competitor, observing their daughter is given personal acknowledgement from perhaps the greatest tennis champion in history felt less such as an athletic advancement and more similar to a certification from society. Eala's fanbase on social media grew drastically over the course of 48 hours. Brands keeping an eye on her business metrics engagement numbers reported internally their analytics teams are so unusual. Marked them as possible data at first. Corruption. Sponsors who had continued to connections with her that are restrained and cautious representation was abruptly started urgently. Discussions about accelerated timeframes for partnerships. The tennis match The Cosmos has seen innumerable retirement homages, the foundation announcements about philanthropic causes and debuts. It has never seen anything even close to similar to this. And each and every reporter, executive and rival compensation attention automatically recognized that whatever particulars were left undisclosed would ultimately come to light. And when they did, women's the commercial and emotional aspects of tennis, the landscape would take up the same coordinates later. However, nothing at all prepared anybody for the recorded response of Eala when she completed processing the whole proposal. In private due of what transpired inside in that silent space, a dimension of the competitive tennis, her character world, which had never been accessed before, it altered how each and every individual observing her made her permanent. Individuals who have seen Alexandra Eala in a variety of competitive settings describe the same characteristic continuously. First, calmness. Almost unsettling architectural poise. Opponents who, having stolen momentum, broken her serve, forced tie breaks against her in the third set. Almost all discuss confronting someone whose expression conveys almost little that is helpful concerning her inside mental condition. She is not treacherous. Body language that conveys dread. She does not use a racket to express dissatisfaction handling. She just adjusts her balance, returns after reloading. Rafa for 8 years Nadal Academy conditioning that exterior on purpose. Feelings regulation was not unrelated to the curriculum. It was fundamental. Early on, students discovered that psychological exposure throughout competition gave rivals ammunition. Eala took this in philosophy to such an extent that it became architectural elements that are strongly ingrained in her competitive personality, that differentiating between performance composure from a genuine personality to really challenging, especially for those communicating with her on a regular basis, which is exactly why what came after the arrival of the envelope shattered every observer in attendance in accordance with those who have first-hand experience of same afternoon was given the private packet of documents in a space next to the main academy building administrative branch. She had been only advised that letters for Nadal's charity, her private attention, nothing more than that framing. Common language used in procedures intended to stop anticipatory emotional readiness. She perused the start with a cover letter. Sources characterize her expression staying distinctively neutral for almost 3 paragraphs. Then something changed. Her jaw somewhat tightened. Her perusal, the speed slowed considerably. She went back to certain phrases, clearly rereading, not out of perplexity, but because seeming incredulity that the words gathered in front of her were real instead of intricately designed fiction. When she arrived in the area of formally designating Nadal's replacement support, his clear and verified affirmation that she was everything his legacy of competition symbolized and merited all of the institutional resources he may lead to her championship the future. The architecture of composure dissipated quickly rather than gradually, instantly. She apparently shed tears with a completeness that shocked everyone who saw it. Specifically because nothing in 8 years of expert observation had indicated this specific emotional register existed within her. These weren't glossy, attractive tears that are appropriate for collection of highlights. These were uncooked, tears that are physically overpowering, and gasping it leaned her forward in order to it took her a few minutes to generate comprehensible language that conveyed everything about her calm exterior had been discreetly containing for almost 10 years of incredible sacrifice far from the house. Her mother was contacted by telephone. A few hours later, detailed getting a call in which her daughter could hardly speak phrases. She continued to reiterate. Her mother later told Philippine media that she at last felt acknowledged. Not for her potential, but for her standing, for everything that she gave up to become who she was as she stood there. Those 10 words, I felt heard for the first time. Everything she gave up bounced about across the world's tennis communities as soon as it was published, translated within 48 hours into 17 other languages, eliciting feelings from journalists, sportsmen, and recreational sports spectators who had never before paid close attention to women's tennis. Pay attention. Because those 10 words expressed a universal idea, something that all people strive for, excelling in purposeful seclusion, away from comfort, from family, from a typical young person, comprehends in their marrow, but they never discovered sufficient vocabulary for public expression. Eala unintentionally discovered it while crying. In a calm office space on a documentation on a Spanish island from a victor kind enough to acknowledge that seeing brilliance has its own unique accountability. Now, the whole full details of Nadal's proposal appeared in the public eye. Every detail, every dedication, each and every astounding financial and expert element that contributed to his Eala was anxious by her closest counsel. Weep. In reality, what he gave her will permanently change the definition of mentoring meaning in the realm of professional sports. This is when everything increases up speed. Take off the clothes. The feeling for a short while. Look at the architecture that is behind the feeling, because Nadal's engineering for Eala during assessed only using structural, financial and professional aspects symbolizes something so all-encompassing built, it implies months of careful preparation as opposed to impulsive giving. The collaboration element by itself carried consequences for transformation. Nadal's infrastructure for coaching, constructed, improved, been put to the test in 22 Grand Slams programs, including some of the greatest advanced biomechanical analysts, tactical planners, as well as physical conditioning experts working any place in the world of professional sports. These people have institutional information gained by preparing one athlete for the highest possible level of competition between 2 decades. Rerouting that group intelligence for the growth of Eala signified more than just kind assistance, but a true rival recalibration. Her current technical staff, however capable, used the resource limitations common to players outside the highest level of WTA financial framework. Including Nadal's employees, even in part, even carefully, instantly raised her preparation of the architecture for area that was previously only accessible by the top 5 prize-winning athletes' profits. The consequences for competition were simple. Improved readiness results in improved performance. Better higher rankings are the result of performance. Higher ranks open up more business prospects. More superior commercial leverage funds getting ready. The cycle that Nadal started was created with self-replication in mind. The addressed is the financial basis component. Weaknesses that are less obvious from beyond observation, yet close to known to anybody navigating economics of professional tennis. To be honest, travel for competitions at the highest level of competition levels are far more expensive than most casual observers make in. Approximation. Equipment upkeep, physical rehabilitation, sports psychology and nutritional assistance consulting, logistics of visas across scheduling for international competitions. The cumulative debt often compels gifted athletes to awkward concessions between optimization of competition and financial sustainability. The scholarship of Rafael Nadal mechanism removed those concessions completely, establishing circumstances where every choice Eala takes from here on might be assessed only by competitive value as opposed to economic restriction. However, the successor approval, That third unprecedented component, born consequences going much beyond a person's career support for something that is about to relevance to civilization inside tennis. At Nadal's, there was no retired champion. Historical significance has previously been codified this kind of clear public documentation support of an active participant as their selected legacy carrier. The motion established a whole new category within mentoring in professional tennis, anything other than support from foundations, beyond the sporadic coaching consultation, beyond scholarships for humanitarian causes. Eala was not shown as a recipient of Nadal's magnanimity, but as a purposeful continuance of his career in all its aspects depicted philosophically. Unrelenting readiness, honesty in competition, modest brilliance, and the radical conviction that place of origin should never dictate your own athletic fate. For specifically, tennis in Southeast Asia, this endorsement served as a seismic confirmation. The area had generated gifted athletes for many generations. Athletes who engaged in respectful competition, occasionally, beautifully, without ever obtaining recognition from the institution implying that they belonged in the sport's category's supreme elite. Nadal's suggestion took down the invisible ceiling, irrevocably in public with the whole weight of his unparalleled competitive authority behind each statement. Athletics economists keeping an eye on the announcement recorded commercial aftermath rapid, quantifiable changes in Eala's market assessment. Inquiries about partnerships reaching the offices of her representatives 72 hours after the public verification of the substance of the proposal allegedly surpassed the whole amount over time. Based on the last 18 competitive months. International brands rather than local one sponsors, not small-scale local collaborations, but doing business globally businesses with 9-figure marketing budgets started official discussions about enduring relationship. The WTA itself, however, was confronted with an awkward institutional repercussions. A participant on their trip, who was active, had obtained a legacy endorsement from the public among the most important commercial person in the history of contemporary tennis, and the organization had performed zero function in supporting, allowing, or even expecting that to happen. The strength dynamic that was discovered between individuals' athlete story and tour of the facility, there was no subtlety in the framework. However, this is why isn't anybody talking about the commercial consequences that were kept in mind. Eala, she has not yet made a public statement. Not a single post, not a single word well-crafted message via her portrayal. The quiet was purposeful, well-prepared. Additionally, when it was finally over, everything changed. Last exceptional moment. What started off as a retired legend's secret with an ascending warrior turned into the most moment in time that is emotionally meaningful tennis for women within a generation. In Eala, Nadal saw something that surpassed ranking algorithms and statistical forecasts. He identified a spirit that matched his own, worthy of every resource that his remarkable career possessed accumulated. Eala, in obtaining that acknowledgement, demonstrated the depth of character underlying her calm exterior significantly improved the way she is viewed by the sports world. This was never only about the money, approvals, or institutional plans. This was roughly two champions divided into generations, nationality and history of competition, discovering evidence in one another that greatness, wherever it really starts, always eventually identifies itself. If this story moved anything within of you, if Eala's path, Nadal's remarkable action, or the unadulterated humanity that lies behind professional sports' profound resonance from the polished surface, crush that subscribe button right now. This channel unearths the tales hidden under the numbers, the human reality under the spotlight compilations, the reality of emotions below the awards. You are deserving. Stories that were so potent regularly. Sign up and activate alerts. Bring someone in need, persuading people that sports are the ultimate, the best is always essentially about.